Hey guys, one more video today, Sunday afternoon, but I came in for a few minutes, so I was just going to go over a couple of things I know you guys requested that you're having trouble with, so I want to make sure to hit some of these things. A lot of you guys told me that you were having trouble with remembering how to do volume problems or finding the area of the base, so we're going to go over a real short, quick video for that. By now, in 6th grade, you should know that volume is length times width times height. Three things, not length times width, not base times height, that's area, but volume measures everything inside, the depth, everything that you can pour into it. Volume kind of usually represents liquid because it's the whole thing inside, right? So if you're measuring some kind of water, then you think volume. So you're going to measure your length on the bottom, your width, showing how fat the thing is, and then your height. So length times width times height, three things for volume. But in 6th grade, they made it a little harder for you. They threw in something called the area of the base. And you can find your area of the base by just multiplying two things. And it doesn't have anything to do with the height. So let's look at the formula. All right, so we have volume here. Volume is length times width times height. Three things. We said that. Length times width times height is volume. Or area of the base times your height. Now, I've made this quick little thing so you could see what two things to multiply to find your area of the base. If you take your length and your width and you multiply those, you get your big B. It's not a small b, it's a big B because you multiplied two things there, and that is called the area of the base. If you multiply that area of the base times your height, then that also gives you your volume. Because if you've got your area of the base, that means you've already found these two. It doesn't mean that you only have two things that you have to multiply. It just means that you've already multiplied your length and your width, and you've got the area of the base. All right? So volume, length times width times height, or area of the base times height. All right, let's look at an example. So let's look right here. We've got the volume. They gave us our volume already. We don't have to find our volume. We don't have to multiply our length times width times height to find the volume because we've got it. We've been given that. Now we've got our length and we've got our width, but we do not have our height, right? So what did I tell you find if you multiply your length and width together? We just talked about it. We just said that if you multiply your length and your width, you get the area of the base. Remember the big B? If you multiply your length and your width, you get your big B. That's the area of the base. So let's multiply our length and our width together, length times width, and that gives us what? 3 times 4 is 12. So we know that our area of the base, by multiplying those two together, is 12. We figured that out, right? If you've got your volume and you've got two of the others or any of the others, you always, always, always can divide your volume. That means the volume is being divided by. That means volume goes on the left on your division problem. Volume goes in the calculator first because it's what's being divided. You always divide your volume by anything else that you have, anything else, and that will give you your missing piece. So here we had our length and our width. We multiplied 3 times 4 and we got 12. So now we have our volume and we've got our big B. If you take your volume and plug it in, 144, and you take your area of the base and plug it in, then now you have 144 divided by 12. Now what is your height? 144 divided by 12 is 12 because 12 times 12 is 144. And that's how you find one of the missing pieces. It doesn't matter which missing piece that you have. You can still multiply your width and height together, and you would be given your length if you divide your volume. The main rule is always, always divide that volume. Put that volume first and divide it by whatever you have, and that will give you the missing piece. Divide the volume. Okay, what about this sneaky thing right here? This is a cube. What do we know about cubes? Think about it. What do you know about a cube? Every single face, the flat side, every single face on each side of the cube are all squares. And what do we know about squares? Squares have all the same edge lengths, right? If one side, one edge of a square is 2, then the other side is going to be a 2, and the other side is going to be a 2, and the other side, because squares are even. They have all the same sides. They're all the same size. So right here we've got a cube, and it tells us that one edge length is 2.5. What did Miss Blackwell just tell you? If it's 2.5 here, then what is it here? 2.5. If it's 2.5 here, what is it here? 2.5. If it's 2.5 there, what is it here? It's 2.5 all over. So if you ever need to find anything to do with a cube, then know that if you have one edge length, you've got them all. So how do you find the volume of a cube? Volume. Think of the word. Volume is length times width times height. So what's our length? 2.5. What is our width? 2.5. And what is our height? 2.5. They're all 2.5. So to find the volume of this, you would simply multiply 2.5 times 2.5 times 2.5, and you would get your volume. That's it. That's about all I've got for volume today. Always divide that volume by whatever you have. Remember that volume is length times width times height. If you multiply that length and width, you get that area of the base. All right? I hope you learned something. Thanks. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.